promote student success every day. Listen for our good news segment each month on the WTIM Morning Show, and go Tornadoes.
Taylorville Care Center's custom therapy program can help you, whether coming from a hospital stay or just need a little help. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Taylorville schools promote student success because Taylorville schools are A+. Superintendent Brandy Bruley here, asking you to find out all we can offer your students by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
And we're back with our third and final segment of the WTIM Morning Show. And it's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville. My name is Grayson Bauman, and joining me now is Kathy Coker, Executive Director at Loving Arms Pregnancy Center. Kathy, how are you this morning?
I'm just fine. A little cold. Getting warm now in here. But
It's a little better in here than it is out there. On my walk to work this morning, oh goodness, it was a frigid one with the sun not being out. Well, Kathy, it is a pleasure to have you here on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We were talking a little bit in between the break there about that. And today is meant to be a National Day of Service. And I'd love to expand on the services that you offer with Loving Arms Pregnancy Center at either of your locations.
yes, thank you. I'd like to start out basically with an explanation of who we are and what we do. And part of that includes our locations. We are located in Taylorville. That's our main office at 500 North Walnut Street. And then we also, back in actually 2020, it wasn't planned that way, but during the height of the pandemic, we had actually been planning it months before that. And we opened in June of 2020, our location in Pana at 201 South Locust Street. Just last year, we celebrated our 25th year. We're excited about that.
Absolutely. That's an impressive milestone.
Yeah, absolutely. And our services, basically, all of our services are provided with what we call CARE, which is an acronym, and it stands for Compassion, Assistance, Respect, and Education. And our programs, we like to also refer to those as kind of our three-legged stool. We have intervention, prevention, and recovery. In our intervention programs, that encompasses our pregnancy services, which includes pregnancy tests, options consultations, and referrals for ultrasounds, a free referral for ultrasound, and community and medical referrals. Our education component of those intervention programs is what we call Earn While You Learn. The curriculum we use is Bright Course, and that's online. It's absolutely wonderful. It's got a lot of wonderful, anything from prenatal care, new baby care, relationships, toddler care, you name it. It's even, how to rent an apartment, how to buy a car, even job searching. How do you prepare for searching for a job, that kind of thing. So it's just amazing. And all of that is totally free. We also have a men's program because we know the fathers of the babies have a unique role as well. So we have trained male peer counselor, a trained male peer counselor who comes alongside of them and offers them support and guidance that is unique to men. As far as our prevention programs, we have some educators that are in our area schools, and we refer to them as SRA educators, and SRA stands for Sexual Risk Avoidance Education. And they are also very trained to go in and talk to in the public schools and even in some of the parochial schools as well. They can go in and talk to them about making healthy life decisions and positive choices in their life. For example, even avoiding drugs and alcohol, because that would lower their inhibitions and cause them perhaps to make a decision that they wouldn't normally make. And so it's talking about also goal setting and planning for their future, rather than just sometimes living in the moment by moment, but to plan and see how those choices you make today can impact your future.
Absolutely. And maybe it'll be 9 months down the road if that is the case.
Yes.
for one of those decisions.
Yes.
And I love that because with the title of Loving Arms Pregnancy Center, you think about those pregnancy services, but you really hammered in some really in-depth processes and things that are just helping the community be able to and the person within the community be that much
Absolutely.
bigger of a member. So,
Absolutely. And even on either side of the issue, whether it be, as a prevention, or even in the intervention, because we're helping to build strong families. We're coming alongside of the young woman and even the young man, and helping them to be equipped as parents. And but we also talk to them, by the way, even in our options consultation, we realize and recognize that there are other choices out there that they could make. One we know is abortion. We do not refer or recommend for abortion, but we do provide information that will help them make an empowered and informed decision. And depending, someone else may not agree with, our stance on not referring or recommending, but we can all agree that we can come alongside of them and help them to make the best decision for them. And no matter what they decide, we're also there for them. And I can also talk to you in a moment about our recovery program. But we also come alongside of in our prevention programs, we come alongside of the woman who perhaps has been sexually active, in her past, and she's wanting to make a different choice. For example, even if she comes in for a pregnancy test and she finds out that it's negative, we can talk to her perhaps about the decision that she's making and how it can impact her body health, and perhaps even another, unplanned pregnancy in the future, even STDs or STIs. We can talk to her about that. But it's actually teaching her to value her body and make different choices, and also respecting, learning to respect herself and love herself as well. And so, but we're not here to judge. We are totally non-judgmental, and I think, if I could share with you all of the comments from our clients, they are just so, they're great comments and they're wonderful, and talk about how we came alongside of them and how they love coming in to talk to our advocates, our client advocates in that. But that, as I mentioned, too, the recovery program that we have, those that have chosen an abortion in their past, we have a program that is a confidential faith-based healing and support class for those that are struggling with the pain of a past abortion. It's, to me, seeing the women that have gone through that in their past and then come through that program, I compare it to like watching a rose that has been so closed up, and they maybe can't even hold a baby, and they don't want to be at a baby shower or, to be happy for someone else, perhaps because of the choice that it has been in their mind in the back. It's in their background. And yet to watch them just open up and to be able to accept the forgiveness that can only be found through Jesus Christ, and how wonderful that is to see the difference from the time that they first came in on that recovery program to the end of the program. And we end that with a memorial service. They can invite whomever they want to that. It's absolutely wonderful.
Getting to watch young women blossom
Yes.
in that regard,
Yes.
Could go from that closed rose to all of a sudden a full bloom or
Yes,
a blossom, and
absolutely.
being a part of that mission.
Absolutely. And to be able to flourish in life and the way God intended, and to no longer be captive to that guilt and that shame with that. And so again, we are there for them no matter what, but we do want them to be empowered to make a decision with information. By the way, we also talk about adoption and the different forms of adoption, whether open, closed, semi-open. We also talk about foster care, and then also the different forms of parenting, whether that's single or co-parenting, and then through marriage as well.
So we're talking about not just pregnancy. I mean, we're talking about the after effects. We're
Absolutely.
talking about prior to doing so. We're getting into the schools, and we're making sure that kids are informed as well. And that it leads to informed adults.
Yes.
And if that adult, maybe that comes to you, is less informed, or you'd like to kind of fill the gap, then you provide that. We're talking all stages of life. We're talking
Yes.
the ability to help raise a baby. I mean,
Yes.
just for a variety of services, Pregnancy Center, it kind of has blown my mind how many things are really offered.
Yes. And also one of the programs that we have is called Thrive. And I love this program because, as you mentioned, maybe someone's not been exposed to what we're talking about,
Sure.
The positive aspects of life in general. And in that regard, with them not being informed with that, we want to talk to them about maybe breaking through unhealthy family cycles that have been in their past, that kind of thing. So we come alongside of them with that as well.
It can be a difficult thing to do.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And one thing that was interesting to me is thinking about the father, or thinking about the young man, or
Yes.
whoever that may be in
Yes.
that situation.
He may be in crisis too.
Absolutely.
So like, what am I going to do?
and I can tell you this much: if it's an unplanned pregnancy,
Mhm.
I would say probably for a lot
Sure.
that would be the case, especially first-time parents, or they've never heard that be told to them that I'm pregnant,
Yes.
and all of a sudden you might spiral, or
Yeah.
you might think I can't do this.
That's right.
And if you have support, even outside of your family,
Yes.
outside of your friends, sometimes that is the last that's that last piece that you need. Sometimes
Yes.
you hear it from a friend, you hear it from family, and it clicks,
Yes.
but it doesn't maybe resonate
Right.
in that same
Well,
way.
my daughter says that to me. I remember one time I've told her many times about something, and then finally she called me one day. She goes, "Mom, da 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 da," and I said, "But Kelsey, I've told you that before." I know, but this came from someone else. It was more her generation,
Absolutely. And there's just something to be said for
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
understanding that is the way that is, and
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, just
Yeah.
human nature.
Yeah.
And so, Kathy, we'll take our first break here, but
Okay.
I appreciate everything that we've talked about so far. I'd love to hit on more about your mission, and also
Yes.
the other services that are provided, and why you do it,
Thank
really,
you.
as well. So
Yes.
Kathy Coker is the executive director at Loving Arms Pregnancy Center, locations in Taylorville and in Pana, as recently as 2020. And she is joining us here on the WTIM Morning Show, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville.
Your information station, WTIM.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. No trading on this Monday, federal holiday, the Martin Luther King Jr. Day observance. Corn, beans, and wheat finishing Friday higher. March corn 484 1/4, up 9 3/4. May corn up a dime, 493. July corn 494 1/4, up 8 1/4. March beans closing 1034, up 15. May beans up 13 1/4, 1044 3/4. July beans up 12 1/2, 1055 1/4. March Chicago wheat closing 538 3/4, up 1 1/4. May wheat up 1 1/4, 550 3/4. March bean meal up 280, 297.20. March bean oil 45.69, up 66 cents. Livestock market from Friday, January feeders 273.50, up a nickel. February live cattle up 15 cents, 196.75. February lean hogs 81.12, down $1.17. Jim Taylor, RFD.
The NFL is on Westwood One.
Handoff, Peterson breaking to the clear. Far side, Peterson, 40, 35. Peterson, good night.
Tune in all season long for the NFL's biggest games and most exciting players. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
WTIM on its many on-air platforms. The Big 870 across central Illinois, 96.1 FM in Christian County, 107.5 FM in Shelbyville, and 107.9 FM in the Pana-Nokomis area brings you NFL Sunday afternoon doubleheaders, Monday night and Thursday night football, along with the divisional championships and the Super Bowl. All brought to you by
Specialized Hearing Solutions, McLean Food Service, Rural Rentals, Sloan Implement Company, Dan Rizzo with American Family Insurance, and Advanced Eye Care.
Hi, everyone. Nicole Patrick here, your new local country financial representative at 917 West Bresser in Taylorville. I'm proud to recognize the Tornado student athletes that represent our community by being the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Nicole Patrick Country Financial Player of the Game. During Tornado sports broadcasts this school year, WTIM announcers will select a player at the end of each game who will receive a certificate for being named our Player of the Game. Good luck to all the teams this season, and go Tornadoes!
Whether it's the Bailey Park Adult Community or the Hillcrest Park for all ages, both in Taylorville, they have a place for you and your manufactured home. Bring your own, or they'll sell you one. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation is here to help your business grow, fostering success, attracting investment, and building a stronger community. Learn more today at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM.
You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show here, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville. And joining me now is Kathy Coker, Executive Director at Loving Arms Pregnancy Center. Kathy, I'd like to know first and foremost here in this second segment, why do you do what you do? This is a very important thing for the community, and I would just like to know what your involvement is.
We are a faith-based organization, and if you think about just like Salvation Army or many of the hospitals, they were built on a foundation of Christ and serving. In fact, when you had mentioned earlier, we were talking about the Martin Luther King and a person who encouraged service. And we believe that all people are created in God's image. They are sacred and set apart. He has a plan and a purpose for their life, which is worthy of protection. And so our overall message is that God loves you, he has a plan for you, and you can trust him. And that message is conveyed through either word or deed. I like the saying by St. Francis of Assisi, at all times preach the gospel, and when necessary, use words. I love that. And so to say also that when our client comes in, if she says, I don't want to hear that, okay, we stop. We respect their autonomy. But underlying in that and why we do what we do is the gospel message. And I think that they sense that. And I was sharing also with you during the last break we had that our clients just love sharing, and they love the fact that we pray for them. And it's relationship. It is relationship. And that's what's wonderful. So we specifically also during this month, we recognize and remember the value and sacredness of life during Sanctity of Human Life Month, which is this month in January. And I also would like to just kind of dovetail into that because I know we're short on time in regards to our needs. We are seeking a couple of positions for staffing. We have a position open for a part-time office assistant, and we also have a position open for our sexual risk avoidance educator, or SRA educator. They go out into the schools. It's also, as I say, paid part-time. And we also are looking for volunteers, especially for our client advocates. And those are the ones that meet with our clients, that come alongside of them. And again, building that relationship. And again, I shared something with you again during the break. I want to share it with our listeners that we had a client that came in one time, and she asked where one of our staff members was at. Actually, she said, I miss her. Where's she at? And I explained that she'd had an accident and was recovering from that. And she said, she's just like the grandma I wished I'd had. And that's exciting to me to hear that, because it is that relationship. We even had a client call in one time, and they said, I just want to give you the rest of the story. It's been several years since I've been here, and I want you to know, she says, I never had to buy a pack, but maybe one pack of diapers the entire time I was with you all. And because when they go through the parenting classes and that, they can earn mommy or daddy dollars to purchase the things in our baby boutique that they need for their baby. So it's not real money. It's like Monopoly money, but they earn it by going through the classes and learning to be the best parent that they can be. Absolutely. And which gives them pride. It instills pride for them. And, but yet again, just their learning. But she just went on, and she shared too that she had chosen to go into a helping field because of the work that she had. Wow. Or the help that she had received from Loving Arms. And again, that speaks volumes. And you can go on our Google page, whatever, do a Google search, and you can see the reviews from people who have been through our services. It's wonderful. Staffing, I mentioned, we also need material donations such as formula, diapers, baby wipes, anything baby related, you name it, we need it. And also financial contributions. We do not receive any government funding. All of our funding is through either grants, local grants, including a small grant from the United Way. But we also have many churches that support us, and then also, of course, individual donors. We also have fundraising events. Okay. But if you want to hear more information about it, you can reach out to me at 217-824-7200. You can also check out our website, lovingarmsillinois.com.
Kathy, we got just about a minute, and I just want to kind of wrap everything up with maybe your message out there to the listeners about why it's equally as important to you as the executive director. And I think everything starts at the top, and that kind of trickles down, that trickle down effect. Could you just give me that?
I would say it's, you hear people talk about the work that they do, and I would say it's the hardest work, but it's also such a joy. And I can't imagine doing anything else with my life right now. And those on the listener end can't tell the age that I am, but it is coming to where I'm, certainly looking towards the retirement years. But I certainly want to do something in regards to this ministry, however that would be.
Okay.
And because it is important to me. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I get up in the morning.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kathy. And sometimes that is the most important piece. And you have been listening to the WTIM morning show here on WTIM, your information station, with Kathy Coker, Executive Director at Loving Arms Pregnancy Center.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
Was one of the last events leading up to the noontime swearing in of Trump as 47th president. After the tea, the two presidents shared a car ride to the U.S. Capitol. For the first time in 40 years, the inauguration ceremony will take place indoors because of the cold weather.
I'm Rich Thomason. Mr. Trump vowing to hit the ground running, signing scores of executive orders.